Hi, I'm Pam Arciero, and you're watching a podcast where nostalgia comes alive. It's Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. Roll it!
Welcome to Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Join Jake and his friends on a journey through pop culture of the past, where they interview professionals in the worlds of acting, directing, writing, puppeteering, and so much more. Who will they be chatting with today? Find out in this Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode.
Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show, where nostalgia comes alive. Happy to be with us, thank you for joining. Of course, as always, I'm your host, Jake Duffenball. And today, of course, our co-hosts, Chris Bixby and Matt Bingle. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Hi, everybody. How are you, Jake?
I'm doing great, Matt. Thank you for asking. What do we have for today?
Glad you're with us, everybody. Today's guest is a puppeteer and actor known for her roles on Helpsters and Donkey Hodie and her roles at the Center for Puppetry Arts. But one of her most recent productions is performing the role of Aanika in the recent production of Aanika's Elephants, written and produced and puppet designed by two of our previous guests, Annie Evans and Martin P. Robinson. Currently on Sesame Street, she is Grandma Nell, Tamir and Gabrielle's grandmother. We are very excited to welcome our special guest, Jimmica Collins. Jimmica, welcome. How you doing?
Hi, thank you. That was so lovely. I'm doing great and happy to be here with y'all today.
We're delighted.
It's our pleasure.
Very delighted to have you here. It certainly is a pleasure. So to kick this off, even though I kind of introduced you a little bit, in your own words, could you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure. So I am an actor and puppeteer. I studied theater at Tisch School of the Arts at New York University, and I studied at the wonderful experimental theater wing, where we learned all different kinds of acting techniques. And from there, I moved back to my home state of Georgia. And I started working at the Center for Puppetry Arts. So that's kind of how I fell into puppetry. I was an actor at the Center for Puppetry Arts, an actor talking to the puppets. And as I was in that show, it was called Mother Goose. I just fell in love with the puppets. I was like, can I learn how to do what they're doing? Like, I love talking to the puppets, but I'd love to learn how to be a puppeteer. So I was taught by Amy Sweeney and John Ludwig and many other puppeteers at the Center for Puppetry Arts. I love John. He really taught me so much. And I think I did shows at the Center for Puppetry Arts for about 6 years. And then Sesame Street had an open call for new performers. So John Ludwig and Kristen Haverty helped me make my submission video. And then it's just been a whirlwind ever since then. After I sent in that video, I did join the Sesame Street Mentee group, and I've been a part of that group since I think it's about 3 years now. And yes, that has gotten me the role of Grandma Nell, which I love so much.
Nice. Nice. So, before getting into acting and puppetry, what was your childhood like and how did you grow up?
Oh, so I grew up in a really small town called Lexington, Georgia. It's about, let's see, 35 minutes away from Athens, Georgia, where the Bulldogs play. So that's usually the place that everybody goes to. We all go to Athens. So I went to a small school. I did do theater in school. So I did community theater with Arts Oglethorpe, under the direction of Bly Hartley and Kevin Hartley. And Bly was never, she always made sure that I was doing what I needed to do. So it's really because of her that I really stuck with acting. She helped me do my video for NYU, even though I was terrified. She was like, no, you got it, you got it. So she really encouraged me. So yeah, I've been doing theater and chorus and acting since probably about third grade.
That's awesome. So now I'm kind of curious, what kind of inspired you to want to get into acting and puppetry?
Well, I really enjoyed just being able to stay after school. I think that was my first love of it is like, I don't want to go home. I can go and stay after school if I do all these extracurricular activities. So chorus and theater were two of the classes in elementary school that you could stay after and practice. And I just loved it. I've always been a busybody. My family always calls me a busybody because I can't sit still. I've always wanted to just participate in a bunch of different things. So I think that's what really got me started. But then I fell in love with performing for people. Like, still, I do a lot of film and TV, but there's nothing like a live audience full of people because I can just see their reactions. I can feel what they're going on the journey with me. Um, and I think I got kind of addicted to it then, just like making people happy through theater and through puppetry.
So now I'm kind of go to like going to a Sesame Street. Of course, kind of we mentioned your introduction. And in 2021, you got to train under a number of Sesame Street and Henson puppeteers. Can you talk a bit about that?
Sure. I I still think back on that, and it really wasn't even that long ago. But when I heard about the open call, I had a few people mention it to me. Raymond Carr, who you might know from Jim Henson, and Chris Thomas Hayes, who also is on
Oh,
I love
Chris
him.
Thomas
Yeah, he's a good
Hayes. Oh,
friend.
he's
Yeah.
he's wonderful.
Yes, I love
Anyways.
Chris. He actually lives not too far from me.
Oh, wow.
He
Wow.
texted me and he was like, Jimmica, they need puppeteers. Like, you have to submit. And I was like, I had no clue how to do any type of puppetry for camera. Like, I'd only done live puppetry. You just look up at your hand and the kids are out there. That's all I knew how to do. And I was like, I don't know how. I just don't think that I don't know what to do. And he was like, no, you got it. And he helped me and everyone encouraged me. So John Ludwig actually taught me how to use a monitor. He set up a monitor at the Center for Puppetry Arts, him and Kristen Haverty. And I was immediately in shock because I did not know that it was going to be backwards. The Jim Henson style camera. I had no clue. So I was like, oh my goodness, this video is about to be terrible. But they worked with me and we got it. I just had to like switch my brain to think opposites. And yeah, we submitted the video and they asked me to join in with the mentee group. And I still remember Matt calling me on the phone, and I was already like, "Oh my God, it's Big Bird!" And him calling
He's wonderful
me,
too.
I was so excited. I was like, "Why is he calling me?" And he was like, "Jimmica, I'd like to know if you'd want to join the mentee group." And I was like, "Shut up!" And he was like, "No, I won't shut up." He was like, "I won't shut up." And I was like, "Okay, great." And also, I was already kind of talking with them a little bit, and we had done a few like uh Zoom workshops before I was officially a mentee. But they asked me at that time too if I wanted to be Grandma Nell, and I was like, "Are you kidding? Like, what is happening right now?" Because for Grandma Nell, I sent in just my voice, and because of my Southern background, I think it worked. But I was definitely in shock. Um, and there's another funny story. When I met Marty Robinson, it was via Zoom.
Hmm.
Great friend of ours.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Man, I love Marty so much. He's so
Yes.
kind and his family's so sweet. And I actually babysat for Marty maybe 8 or 9 years ago for Dragon Con. And I didn't remember that it was him. Well, I remembered that it was him, but when I saw his name on the like, oh, that's who I'm going to be mentoring with, I was like, wait a minute, I think I babysat for your twin girls years ago. And he thought back, and it was me. The Center for Puppetry Arts asked me to babysit so they could be on a panel. So I actually had met him years ago.
Oh,
Wow.
that's nice.
Wow, that's amazing. So, since this is actually a perfect transition, since season 53, you've been a Muppet performer for Sesame Street. How did you begin working for them?
Well, it definitely started with the mentee group. So during 2020 and 2021 too, we couldn't really go anywhere. So the mentee group, once I joined, was all via Zoom. So they helped us set up a monitor at home so that we could practice on Zoom. So that's how I honestly am so the pandemic was, an awful time for a lot of different reasons, but it did give us time to have monitor practice because we couldn't go anywhere. So I really had a lot of time to just practice without any pressure, just keep practicing. The mentee group, they would have us, Matt and Marty would have us send in homework assignments. So every 2 or 3 weeks, we had a homework assignment with an outline of what we needed to do, and we had to send them in for critique. And that really helped us all get better at using a monitor. And it wasn't until after the world kind of opened up that we all flew out for the first time to Sesame Street to do an in-person training workshop. And that was that was so because it kind of didn't feel real for a while because I was just talking to Matt and Marty and Big Bird and Mr. Snuffleupagus on the Zoom, and it didn't feel real until I went there and I'm like, no, they're here, I'm here. And I still remember they brought out one of the Wranglers brought out Rosita because they were working
Oh,
on it.
nice.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my God, like
That is so awesome.
That's
it was so
amazing.
cool. uh yeah, Rosita. I was like, no one was puppeteering her, but I just saw her and I was like, I can't even look at her. It felt like a celebrity.
That's great. So I'm actually kind of curious. So like growing up, like who were some of your favorite Sesame Street Muppets?
Um, it was definitely, I would say Big Bird. When I was in preschool, so I was not a big puppetry fan when I was younger at all. Like I watched a lot of cartoons. Puppetry found me much later in life, but I still have a memory of being in preschool and coming home after school, and I had a little red rocking chair that I would sit in, and my mama would put on Sesame Street, and I just loved Big Bird. So Big Bird was my favorite. And I did get a Big Bird feather my first time on set.
Oh, that's
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
that's great.
wow.
They fall out all over the place, and they're like, "You have to take this." Everybody that joins for their first, I guess their first time on set, even like the guests and visitors, everyone tries to make sure to collect the loose feathers to give them to kids and fans.
Oh,
So
Oh, that's great.
uh,
thanks, yeah.
absolutely,
I would say
absolutely.
Big Bird, but I know it wasn't Sesame Street, but I watched Bear in the Big Blue House all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that's
So did I,
wonderful.
yes.
Such a
That was a
wonderful
great
show. Oh
show.
my gosh. For what Noel
Noel
did.
McNeil did, and well, all the Puppeteers, but Noel, of course, they'd all did a wonderful job on that show.
Mhm.
Peter, Tyler,
Absolutely.
Vicky,
Vicky,
and
and of course Noel.
not just Noel doing Bear, but he is amazing. Of course, he's now directing for
Mhm.
Sesame, but also he also did the Rhodes and direct for for the show too, and author. And he recently purchased his memoir, which is so awesome. So happy
Yep,
for him.
his memoir is
He's
Oh,
not
amazing.
and doing things for a Little Shop of Horrors too.
mhm,
Yep.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I've been
happy
Great
for
seeing
stuff he's
him.
that.
doing.
He's so great. Um I remember when I met Noel because he directed the barbershop episode of Sesame Street,
Yes, he
the
did.
Sesame Shorts,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
Love that
Yes.
one.
so good. I love that. And I played one of the barbershop customers. And so that's when I met Noel. And I remember he started talking, and I was like, he still sounds like Bear. It sounds so much like his speaking voice that I was a little bit, I was like, oh, I can't talk right now. I need to process that Bear is here. But yeah, he's a wonderful director too. Wonderful.
Yeah, he is. He truly is.
Really is. So far, do you have any favorite episodes that Grandma Nell has appeared in?
Ooh, favorite episodes. Um, yes. So my favorite episode so far that we've had to film that you can watch now. We just filmed season 55. And
Yeah.
those aren't, they're still, post production and everything. But of the ones that you can see, there is an episode where Grandma Nell and Gabrielle are babysitting a baby seal. And it's just it's the quickest scene. She just pops up. But this seal is causing havoc in Grandma Nell's house, throwing clothes all over the place, and we're just chasing this seal back and forth across the screen. And that's my favorite scene because there, you can't see this, of course, but Marty is actually the one throwing clothes and objects at us so that it looks like the seal is doing it.
That's funny.
Oh my
And I was
goodness.
like trying everything. I'm like, I have Grandma Nell, but I'm trying not to laugh because Marty's
Why?
busy.
Why? But you didn't want to break character or anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. But Marty's just so hilarious, just his own like person. Like he was trying to really aim. And I think the very last shot we got, I don't know if it made it to made the cut, but he landed a pair of, I think, like giant boxers on Grandma Nell's head. And it looked like the seal did it. And they yelled cut and we just cracked up because I was like, that's good aim, Marty. Thanks.
It's great. I loved the family album,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the family album episode's great too. Yeah.
Grandparents' Day.
Yes, Grandparents' Day. That was, I feel like, Grandma Nell's debut episode. She had popped up a little bit in a few episodes before, but that was really her introduction. And I thought it was such great writing by the Sesame Street writers and so
Yes.
sweet. And it's just, and I love that Elmo wants to come along to Grandma Nell's house and they make macaroni and cheese together. And yeah, that I've really enjoyed that. And I also want to talk about our producer Bryce Lauren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
Right.
Yeah, oh, so you know her. Okay, good. She is just so wonderful. She made sure that Grandma Nell looked the part. Like she contacted me before we even started filming with her because she knew my inspiration for Grandma Nell was my actual auntie Maybelle, who I based the voice off of. And
Hmm.
she was like, "Can you send me some pictures of your auntie so we can see like what she wears and how she looks?" Which I was so happy about. I didn't expect to be able to have a hand in how this new character looked. So I found a picture of my auntie in her best, like her like fancy outfit, going to church, and they based her Grandma Nell's jacket and her pants and her like undershirt off of my real auntie Maybelle. And they made sure her hair was, that it looked good, especially because we are African American and we have different hair textures, and they made sure that her hair was on point. And that was all. I feel like Bryce just made sure to keep us all in the loop on all of our characters, especially all the new DEI characters. So yeah, I'm glad you know her. She's wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. I remember. Okay. And then another episode I just love. Like I'm so glad that Grandma Nell's kind of like involved. Kind of like differently. When I already mentioned other episodes, of Abby's magical sleepover.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that was fun. That was also really fun to film because we actually all dressed up in all wore pajamas to work that day. Uh,
Oh,
fun
cool.
Oh
fact.
really?
Wow.
Yeah, so we're all puppeteering under there with footy pajamas on and bunny slippers and like hair wraps because they made the whole, like, even the cameramen are wearing pajamas.
Oh my gosh. I mean, so now with the puppeteers, can feel, it's bedtime when it's actually not, but just like feel that like when for the kind of a filming for that particular episode. So that makes so much sense.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like we were already in the mood when we stepped on set. But yeah, that episode was so fun. I love that Abby got her sleepover episode and the set. Oh, that set was
Oh
so
my gosh.
beautiful.
It
Oh,
I
yeah.
love
was.
that.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
It's so awesome. So now one of the inserts that Grandma Nell got to appear is in the Sesame Street Nature Explorers. What was it
Yeah.
like working on that?
Oh, so that was fantastic. So when they asked me if I would want to, of course, be Grandma Nell for the animated series, I was like, animated series. I didn't know that, that there was a new show coming out called Nature Explorers, and it was so much fun because I had done some ADR with Grandma Nell before, just like little lines that maybe didn't work out when we were filming on the floor. But being able to embody Grandma Nell just in a booth with a mic, oh, it was a good time because she plays soccer, she plays video games. Like Grandma Nell is not an old lady grandma. She keeps up with these babies and she does not let Tamir win any of these games. She does not mind teaching him a lesson, and he, sometimes he thinks he can win, but he can't always win. She does not mess around. So I love getting to bring that to life in the booth. And I love that she loves nature. I'm from the country. I call it the backwoods of Georgia. I grew up playing with like making mud pies outside in the backyard, and like
Oh, nice.
I had a frog that I caught, and then I had to let it go because it was in a shoebox. But I let him go. But like I love playing outside. We had a creek near my house. So knowing that Grandma Nell is teaching Gabrielle, Tamir, and Elmo and Tango about nature just really felt nice to be able to portray. And it's just a sweet show, and also show some of her funny sides too. Because she like sometimes she'll know the answer to stuff, but she'll be like, "Oh no, go on over there and check on that little butterfly, and come back and tell me what you see." So it's a really sweet little series. And I've had some friends message me saying, "I hear you. You're on." And I was like, "Yes, that's me." So that was wonderful. And the animators are so great. I wish I could name all of them, but they hadn't animated it before we started recording.
Oh,
So
really?
no, they had some like segments because we did I don't know if you've seen the Kwanzaa music video that Grandma Nell and Tamir and Gabrielle did.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So they animated that, and so I knew what Grandma Nell looked like as an animation, and they had some little bits to show us like a sizzle, but they hadn't really animated the entire series yet. But as I was recording, there's a camera on me, and I'm such a theater actor, I can't help but do stuff with my body while I'm doing voiceover. I just can't help it. But I didn't realize this until like an animator on a Zoom popped up afterwards and was like, "Thank you, because I was watching you as Grandma Nell, and I'm going to use what you just did as for the animation." And I had no clue they were watching me because there's so many people when you record, you don't know who's there. So that was really cool just to know like my physical acting in a voiceover setting can still uh, help inspire how the show turns out.
Nice. Nice. So now, who have been some of your favorite celebrity guests to work with on Sesame so far?
Ooh, you know what's funny? I joke about this all the time. It seems like every time I'm there filming, the celebrity is on the day after I leave.
Oh.
Yes. I was like, no, there, oh my goodness, so many people. It's always that. It's either the day when I'm landing is when the celebrity is in, and then the next day there's no celebrities, or then I leave and then there's who was just there, and I was really sad. My brain. I'm sorry, I can't think of the names right now, but yeah, so I can't even answer that because yeah, it always skips me, but maybe next season.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? So, moving on from Sesame Street, you've also puppeteered on the Apple TV Plus series Helpsters. What was it like working on that?
Oh, it was, I would say, a good start to my career in TV puppetry because I had so far when I started Helpsters, I hadn't done Sesame Street yet. I'd only done virtual workshops. So Helpsters was my very first time on any set with any camera, anytime. So I was, of course, terrified my first day there, because I knew I was coming in as a right-hand assist. Um, so I wanted to make sure I did a good job. I assisted Cody, who was played by Stephanie DeBruzo.
Stephanie.
Yes,
Yes.
Stephanie was Stephanie and Jen Barnhart. Those two.
Oh, Jen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're the best.
They are, and they really, I feel like, took me under their wing when I first got there. Like I was so nervous. I remember on the ride, I rode with Marty to set, and Marty was like, "No, everybody's cool, everybody's fun." And I was like, "I don't know anybody here." And Stephanie and Kathy Kim and Jen Barnhart immediately, and Ingrid Hansen immediately
Oh,
just
yeah.
I feel like adopted me, and I just felt so much more relaxed just even before filming, just because of how kind they were. Um, in my first scene that I shot, I actually controlled Cody's pigtails, her little
Oh,
pigtails
wow.
up and down. So it was me, Stephanie, and Jen behind the desk. And it was, I think, one of the songs, like Everything Starts with a Plan. And I just had to make her hair go up and down on the right beats. And I was still like nervous. I didn't want to do it wrong. But they were so calm, and they just took any moment to teach me and to explain things to me, because I didn't know what any of the camera people were saying. I
Yeah.
didn't understand some of the like onset lingo. Like when you want to go to the bathroom, you have to say 10-1, and people were saying 10-1, and I was like, what are you talking about? um so I had to learn quick. But they were always constantly like whispering stuff to me, like, that means this. Oh, no, no, that means we're going to do it again. But after that, we'll be. So it was nice to have people in my corner to help. And Tim Lagasse, too.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my
Loved
gosh,
him.
Tim.
Yes,
What
he's
a
so
Tim,
Tim.
fun.
what an
He's
awesome.
worked on it when the kind of fanboy in me kind of got out when we first got him, because he worked on so many shows that I grew up with.
Me too. Me
Mhm.
too.
Probably the biggest being Between the Lions.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
Ari Samari Pants and and
Yeah. And then other shows too,
Specific
like Johnny and the
World,
Sprites, Big Big
yeah,
World.
Ubi. So he's done
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
He's so inspirational. Like when I met him, I was like, oh my goodness, he's done everything. And I like zoned in on how he would puppeteer Scatter, just so I could
Mhm.
learn like his technique. I want to see and Scatter's so funny. And it's because
He is, yes.
Tim
Very
is
funny.
hilarious.
Yeah, and similar to Noel, he also directs as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a great director.
He is. And he really helped me. And I feel like his Tim fun way, because I did get a character on Helpsters called Toasty Tony. And it was my first character, and I was like, oh man, like Toasty Tony was just a background puppet, just like he had there were some lines, but mostly I just had to eat pancakes. And I still remember Tim was like, all right, Jimmica, don't stick that fork in your eye. And I was like, okay. I was like, is that a challenge? And so I was like,
Right.
not stick this fork in my eye on camera. And I did it. And afterwards I was like, Tim, I didn't stick the fork in my eye. And he was like, just little motivations like that. I think I loved him. Tim was great. I was like, okay.
Yeah, they're all wonderful.
It's really cool that like Helpsters is kind of a show that you kind of learn more about things that you never got to learn before you got to start working with Sesame. So it's kind of like kind of a warm up to how to do all this. Like, so okay, now I know what to do with this because I did it for Helpsters.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It was because like at home I didn't know how to rig a fork into my puppet's hand yet. Like so I couldn't really
kind of happy with Jen too, because she done so much shows before she finally got into Sesame. She first did Once Upon a Tree, and then
4 or 5 shows before.
Yeah, and then Between the Lions, and then Ubi, the Book of Pooh. So
Bear.
she has so much experience before I finally got to Sesame. So she already know what one can go into because she already had that experience. Right.
Yeah.
exactly. So now, you're also a puppeteer on another PBS series, Donkey Hodie. Which, first of all, I love your shirt. By the way, it's so
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
Yes.
What was it like working on that?
Oh, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. So it was so nice, like what you just mentioned, like being able to puppeteer on like Helpsters before Sesame Street, and also being able to be on Sesame Street before Donkey Hodie, because Donkey Hodie, run by David Rudman, who is a wonderful director, writer,
Oh my
puppet builder,
gosh.
Amazing.
everything.
Baby Bear
Legend.
Baby
and
Bear.
Yeah, like,
Scooter,
Yeah.
mhm.
Scooter, yep.
He's
Cookie Monster. It's
Yeah.
Cookie,
amazing.
yeah,
Right.
Cookie,
Mhm.
who I
Cookie
haven't
Monster.
actually seen yet in person. Funny enough, I haven't gotten to be on a scene with Cookie Monster yet. But I felt, because I had done Sesame Street and Helpsters, going to Donkey Hodie, I felt more relaxed, which
Mm.
always helps a performance, is when you can relax more.
Oh yeah.
I was so thankful to be able to go work on Donkey Hodie. And also the way that we film Donkey Hodie is different than Sesame Street. Sesame has 3 cameras and we do live cuts, which is, I enjoy filming that way. It's a lot faster, but sometimes it's like it's the camera switches, so you have to really zone in. And at Donkey Hodie, we film with 1 camera, so it really felt like I could settle and really figure out like what the shot is. And David is such a wonderful director. He really gives us time, like, oh, you didn't like that, let's just try it again. It's okay. Like, we have time to try it again if we didn't feel like something was right. Which, so it's just that set, Donkey Hodie set, is just, it feels like a warm hug to me. um of course, Purple Panda, Frankie
Frankie
Cordero.
Cordero. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes, he does such
Yep.
a
Oh
wonderful
my
job with that
gosh.
Frankie
character.
Cordero.
Frank, he's so amazing. I mean,
Yes.
I'm not just Purple Panda, but also Rudy on
Yeah.
Sesame too,
Rudy.
and Haley Jenkins, which to those wins we actually recently got to chat with her. She is so
Yeah, we spoke
amazing.
to her the other day and we talked about the sets as well. And the sets on that show are beautiful.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I love the connection between like
Yes.
Donkey and Purple Panda too, when they have like little adventures
Yes.
together and all that. Yeah, I think that's just amazing. I mean, such an amazing show
It really is.
overall.
It is. And the way yeah, like my favorite thing about it is those sets. Like, I got there and I didn't even realize all of those sets are made, they're like on everything's raised, which is great for puppeteers. We don't have to sit on the carts, we can stand up. But it's like, just
Yeah.
Right.
so many of those C-stands, and the C-stands just hold this. I'm like, that's so smart. It's just so smart. And a lot of
It really
Right.
is.
the props, like there was like a tiny piano, and I was
Mhm.
over there looking, and I picked it up and I was like, this is foam. It's all foam. How do you make this look so good? They just, the art department there is wonderful. And Haley, my first well, I'm a right hand assist for Haley and whoever else needs me, but I really love getting to work with her. We're such good friends,
Oh,
and
Mhm.
she's
that's great.
That's
so
She's
sweet.
just the best.
Mhm.
We told her how much how much that show was just so amazing and all that, and she was like, oh, that's so wonderful to hear that you guys are the best. She really is. She really is the best.
Yeah.
She
Really is.
is. Yeah, and she's so good. Like, I
Oh
love
my
being able
gosh,
to assist
for
her.
doing Donkey, like, oh my gosh.
Amazing.
Mhm. Even when the cameras aren't running and she has Donkey on, she's still like making funny little like giggles and jokes. And I'm like, you're such a kid. I love it. Uh,
We're all
yeah.
kids at heart.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
We
Yes,
are.
everyone puppetry, we're all kids at heart.
Mhm.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
there you
True.
go.
So
Yeah.
true. So true. So moving on from your TV puppetry, we had brought up the Center for Puppetry Arts earlier, which you performed numerous roles for. Could you kind of talk about what those roles were and what your work was with the Center for Puppetry Arts?
Sure. So I started there in Mother Goose, written by Amy Sweeney, where I was a human character taking the kids on an adventure to try to find Mother Goose because she's missing. Um, and from then I did Tall Tales, which is like a tall tale medicine show about Paul Bunyan and the Babe the Blue Ox. So all these tall tales where I did actually get to puppeteer for the first time. And what I loved about that show is they had done the show for years. John Ludwig wrote most of the shows at the Center for Puppetry Arts. He's so brilliant.
Hmm.
And that show had done so well that I think it was like maybe its 7th time coming back to the center. And I played Hot Biscuit Betty, who traditionally was played by a white performer. And I just assumed I would just take over her puppet since the puppet was built. No, they built me a new puppet that looked like African American Hot Biscuit Betty, which was so amazing. I know it took more money and more time, but the fact that the center was like, no, we're gonna have this reflect who you are was it's a gift that I always am so thankful for. And Hot Biscuit Betty is still there and she looks good. So that was my first time using a hand and rod puppet. And that show was really a good introduction to puppetry in general, because I don't know if you've seen it, but there's rod puppets. There's a giant ogre that is, I don't even know how, like probably longer than this couch. And they're shadow puppets. So I got to learn shadow puppetry, rod puppetry, hand and rod. No marionettes in that show, but basically everything except for marionettes I got to learn. So it was really a good startup puppetry show. So then from then I did Stella Luna. I played Stella Luna and Stella
Oh,
Luna.
nice.
And she was so cute because she was a baby and then she grew up and she fought all the mean birds. And then she had so I love that show. John Ludwig again adapted that show from the original book for the stage. I was also in not Tall Tales, sorry, Aesop's Fables, another show where I was a human and talking to puppets. I do love those shows. Yeah, so I can't even name them all. There's Space the Musical, where we go on a journey through space. We were going to do Pete the Cat, the musical. That was the pandemic shutdown show. So we were in rehearsals, Pete, and Pete did not, I don't think Pete has come back yet, but hopefully, because that show is a big seller, hopefully it comes back. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, Harold and the Purple Crayon.
Yes.
Ooh.
That
Yeah.
was a great show because I don't know if you
Yeah.
heard about how we did that show. Have you heard about how it was done?
No, I
I
don't
don't
think
think
so.
so.
John Ludwig again. So this show, they tried something completely new because in the book, Harold writes with a purple crayon, and everything that he draws, it comes to life and he goes on an adventure. So John figured out a way for us to actually, we have a really lovely Harold puppet to be able to draw with a purple crayon in real time and have those characters get animated to life. So we use the Pepper's Ghost technique, like from Haunted Mansion at Disney. They brought that technique to the center. So we were able to, we puppeteered it was check black, so we wore all black, and they had the black light puppets. So we were able to make Harold draw in real space. Like we would trace it, you would see it, and then it would pop into a real puppet. So people, every time, it's so hard to explain it, and videos don't do it any justice because it just looks like animation, but we're puppeteering those, like there's a daisy that pops out, like he draws a daisy and then we have a real daisy puppet. And every time we finish the show, we had people from the audience say, what just happened and how are you doing that? So we usually had to have a lot of talkbacks to explain with the lights up how Pepper's Ghost was working for the show. So I hope we get to do it again because it was one of my favorite shows to do just because it just looks so magical. And to have an effect like that at the center was, everyone was really excited about it.
Very nice. So you also performed different roles in Puppet Up Uncensored. What was that like?
That was fun. I did the Jim Henson workshop. When was that? 2021. I auditioned for Kevin Clash. Love Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin. Oh
Love
my
Kevin.
gosh. Oh,
And
yes.
Patrick Bristow,
Yep.
who's
Yep.
the
Yep.
host of Puppet Up. I auditioned for them. They had an open call, and I was chosen to go. I think there were about 35 of us. So we spent 3 weeks in LA learning puppetry technique, but also learning improv. And improv was not anything that I had done before. Um, so I was just a sponge. I was like, just teach me. I don't know, just teach. It was, and having Kevin just so funny. He was mostly teaching like group musical scenes. So like he would choreograph these like music videos with 20 of us and have us really, it felt like we were on the set of a movie. And to be on the Jim Henson lot was, it was so nice, the history of it all. And we had Donna Kimball also teach us.
Donna.
Love
Oh
Donna.
my gosh.
Yes, Donna's
Yes.
great. And we also had Danielle. She is a professional improv performer, and she was there to really get our improv chops up. And it was amazing, but also really hard because improv half of the day is like your mind's constantly like, you got to really be hyper focused on what your partner's saying because that's where the funny is. So we did that for 3 weeks, and then we had a big showcase where they invite a lot of industry people to come in, and we put together this, I think, an hour-long, basically like a real Puppet Up show, but they knew we were newbies. And from that, they asked me to come and the Puppet Up cast. And I performed at Not Scary Farm in California for I think they do it, yeah, every October, and then they do some other Jim Henson Lot shows. But it was crazy. I'm used to performing for kids. That's mostly my background. So performing for like mostly drunk adults was, I mean, the stuff, because they would have to give us suggestions, and I'm like, well, you want us to do what? Okay. So it was fun. It was. I enjoyed working with Patrick. He's such a good host and so encouraging. I always say, like, after our like 30-minute Puppet Up, we would go to the backstage, and I feel like Patrick would give us like a football locker room pep talk. Like, okay, so that worked, that didn't work, that wasn't funny, that was really funny, let's do it again, because we did 3 shows a night. So it was really, I was like, I love Patrick's locker room talks. Those are my favorite.
That's
So yeah,
great.
it was good.
Nice.
That's great. So, of course, currently you perform the role of Aanika in the theater production Aanika's Elephant. So, how did you kind of get into that role?
Yes. So I got into Annika's Elephants in a very funny way. So I in 2021 did the virtual O'Neill Puppetry Festival. Have you done the O'Neill before?
No,
No.
no.
Heard of
Yeah,
it, but never have.
it's
Yeah,
cool.
I've heard of it, but I just
Mhm.
haven't yet.
Not
Yeah,
yet.
I have never done it in person. I did the 1 year where they came back after the pandemic. It was all via Zoom. So I participated in that way. So I still have never been to the O'Neill, but I've kind of been to the O'Neill virtually. And I was working with Marty there because he was one of the teachers. I think he taught sock puppets, fun with sock puppets. I was working with him, and his wife Annie Evans saw me,
Mm-hmm.
and she knew that I was also working with him via Sesame, and she
Oh,
asked during one of our O'Neill breaks, she was like, hey, can you stay online and we can talk for a second? I was like, sure. She's like, I have this show that I wrote, and I wondered if you could read it. And I was like, sure. Like, she was like, yeah, do you just read? Like, I just want to hear it out loud, and you kind of fit who this character is. And yeah, I just want to see. And I was like, yeah, sure. I'm not doing anything. So we just did a read over Zoom, and that's exactly how it started. She just saw me on Zoom with Marty. I was like, can she read this for me? And since then, we have now just finished our Broadway run at the New Victory Theater. So it's funny how life happens like that sometimes.
Mhm.
After that initial reading, she wanted to see if we could get a Jim Henson grant to get money to keep producing the show and to workshop the show. So they had me fly to Connecticut to their lovely home to film I think it was a 2-minute video of the show, and we just filmed it in Marty's basement. Marty and Pam Arciero and
I love
Annie.
Pam.
Pam,
Love
she's the
Pam.
best.
Ham. They puppeteered the elephant parts, so it's just me
Mm-hmm.
standing there with elephant parts like the trunk and the ears, and it's Marty and Annie and Pam and Jessica. I can't pronounce her last name, but helps Marty make a lot of his puppets and props, and yeah, and Safiso is a wonderful playwright and puppeteer in New York, and we all just in the basement just like put together this sizzle reel to submit for the Jim Henson grant, and we won. And from there we were able to go to Connecticut the next year and workshop the show for about 3 weeks. So that's where we really got to see, like, okay, how does this work? Who are these characters? There were some rewrites, but not much, because that script that Annie wrote was already so memorable and so strong. So yeah, that's how it happened. It's just, I honestly say it's because Annie's writing is just so beautiful. You can't help but, like, there's so many people that I felt so bad, but there's so many of my friends that saw the show came up to me and they're still in tears after the show. And
Oh,
I'm just like, it's okay. So it really touches kids and adults alike, which I think is a big selling point for that show. I've had some parents say, "Oh, I thought I was just bringing my kid to see a puppet show," but no, I'm like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm okay. Because the show talks about conservation and poachers in Kenya who do try to kill the elephants for money. And so it was the topic was heavy, but with the puppets and the way that Annie wrote it, it really made it so that the show was appropriate for people of all ages. So it's been a good journey with that show.
That's so wonderful. And
yes.
the Washington and the show got a mention in the New York Times. Is
Yes.
that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It was
That
New
is
York
so
Times.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank
I'm
That's
you.
amazing.
so happy for you and the rest.
Mhm.
That's so great.
Yeah. So
I love Annie's writing for that show. I mean, she also wrote for Sesame in the past, so
Mhm.
Yeah.
she's done an amazing job for that. It's just so wonderful. I cannot wait for what's more to come with that.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
yes,
she wrote for Out of the Box, which was another one of my favorite
Oh
shows.
I
wow!
love Out of the Box.
That's a
Yeah,
great
I love
show.
that show too.
Great show.
Mhm.
Yes, that's awesome.
such a wonderful
That's
show.
right.
So with Annika's Elephant, so what can people expect with this kind of production?
Um, well, we do have a booking agent now for the show,
Oh,
because
cool.
there were quite a few theater companies that want the show to come there. And so Pam and Jean Marie is our producer, our wonderful producer. They have really been, all of our producers, three lovely women, have been boots to the ground marketing the show and getting the name out there. And they've done a great job. Like, we've gotten to Broadway, which is cool. And now they have a booking agent to help send us even further. So we are hopeful that in 2025 we will do a tour and go to
Ooh,
some different places.
That'd be awesome. That'd
that'd
be
be
so
awesome.
That would
great.
be awesome.
Yeah, and where are you all located?
Massachusetts. I'm in
And me and
Massachusetts.
Matt are from Maryland.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. I'm thinking about, because I'm trying to think of the places that they mentioned, because I would love for you to see the show.
We'd love to
That would be
see it.
cool.
Yes, that'd be so great.
That would be wonderful.
We'd certainly love to see it. So, aside from Annika's Elephants, could you share anything you're currently working on? At least that you're allowed to.
Um, there's more fun, but I'm not allowed.
Well, I know you.
That's
I know
why
you
I
said.
asked another part.
Well, I know you said you just recently wrapped the
Just,
upcoming season of Sesame Street.
which you folks will most likely be seeing in the fall.
Yes.
Yes,
yes,
you are well.
Yes, and hopefully there'll be, season 56, which hopefully will film next year. Trying to think what else. Yeah, that's the thing about TV is you can't talk about things.
Yeah,
Not until it's officially
Not
announced,
until
at
it's officially
least.
announced.
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
See, you know.
Yes.
We have the whole NDA things.
NDAs, they're a
Yeah.
thing.
That's
Yeah.
like if sometimes if you did this, and like even sometimes it takes like probably even over a year to not even talk about it.
Right?
Yes.
You know, that's one of the most hardest
It's
things.
so
but,
hard
like,
not to talk about it.
I mean, yeah. It's kind of hard in a way, but like sometimes, like if you don't so much shows, you kind of got get used to it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
Very
it was
true.
definitely at the beginning, especially with Grandma Nell. I was like, I can't. And I'm like, and it's based off of my real auntie, and I can't talk about it. So it was just like waiting on pins and needles for the first episode. So
Yeah, but I mean, over the years, you probably
Mhm.
okay, yeah, we can't talk about it now because of this going on.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So as we're getting close to wrapping up here, so this last question that Jake's going to ask is a question we ask all of our guests at the end. Go ahead, Jake.
Thank you, Chris. Of course, this podcast is called Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show. When you think of nostalgia, what do you think of? In your own words, how would you define the word nostalgia?
Ooh, I like that question. For me, nostalgia is the warm, fuzzy feeling you get when you think about when you were about 8 years old and you're sitting in front on your couch or, just at a show that you really love that's just memorable. So to me, nostalgia is something that's warm and fuzzy and brings you joy.
Nice. Great words to end on.
Yes, wonderful.
Well, Jimmica, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. This was a blast.
Thank you, Chris. This was so fun. Thank you for inviting me. What an honor.
Absolutely.
It was a
That's
pleasure.
wonderful. Thank you very much, and thank you so much for what you've done with with Sesame, for Grandma Nell and then Aanika's Elephants, and what you've done means a lot to us. And what you've done, it's amazing. I keep up the great work what you're doing now, and cannot wait what's next in store.
Thank you. And keep up the great work here too. Like it's so nice to have a place where people can go and learn stuff like this and just, go down memory lane. So thank you.
It means a lot.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well,
It means a
Thank
lot.
you.
You're
I'll,
welcome.
keep in
Our
touch,
pleasure.
Jimmica. I'll let you know when this goes up.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
Bye.
enjoy,
Yes.
enjoy the rest of your
Bye.
day.
Take care, Jimmica. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye. It's goodbye from us as well. We absolutely enjoyed our time speaking with Jimmica Collins. Links to her social media will be in the description down below for anyone who wants to connect with her. Yes, keep on the lookout for more wonderful interviews coming your way. And as always, what do you say, Jake?
Keep nostalgia alive. Take care, everyone. See you next time. Take care. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another wonderful Jake's Happy Nostalgia Show episode. Be sure to follow Jake and the Happy Nostalgia team on social media, check out our website, and stream the show wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And as always, remember to keep nostalgia alive. Bye-bye.